WarsawJS.
Hello guys, do you hear me? Yeah, cool. Hello. So first of all, I just learned that I have only 20 minutes because I thought it will be like an hour, so I will speed up really fast. And first of all, WarsawJS, happy birthday. One more info, it's also it's definitely International Programmers Day today, so we have like combo celebration, I guess. And yeah, and topic of my presentation is, as Barry said, future of frontend. Where do we come from? What are we? And where are we going? And it's quite interesting topic because it's actually the one-to-one title of the famous painting of Paul Gauguin's artist. He was a close friend to Van Gogh, and actually this painting is should be read from left to right. Left part is like the beginning of life. Middle part is like where do we right now, and the right part is the it's kind of where do we going. Yeah, and what do we want to, if we want to learn the past, to predict the future, first of all, we sometimes have to step back to the past and, you know, just zoom out the whole picture and make some, you know, retrospectives. So let's move on. First of all, a quick introduction. I am a front-end engineer in Sunrise. More than 6 years in the field, specialized in developing micro front-end services, data-driven applications, mostly in React ecosystem. Main focus, mastering skills in logical thinking, and interests outside of front-end world is art, electronic music, and learning how this world works. So yeah, to understand the future, let's go back in time. There wouldn't be any technical hard information, just, you know, some refreshing maybe, and yeah, so let's start. In the beginning we had HTML, 1993. A guy on the right is Tim Berners-Lee. Probably you have familiar with this picture. It's the founder of the whole World Wide Web. This is how first web looked like. What was interesting for me when I learned this slide, it was the HTML was fine because in order to share some documents among the researchers at CERN, it was a European Nuclear Research Organization. That was quite unusual. Next one, CSS. Wouldn't say much about it because we probably know familiar with a lot of specifications about this technology. But what do we have? 1996. Now we have a whole web page like read-only mode. Users don't expect interactivity, and yeah. And finally, our last of the foundational technology, JavaScript. Initially, it was called Mocha, then renamed to LiveScript, and eventually became JavaScript. Interesting fact, it took only 10 days to develop. I didn't know that. So yeah, now we have fully interactable web pages. Users can submit forms. We have some animations. It kind of read and write mode already. Meanwhile, standardization efforts began. Browser wars explodes. I don't know, do you remember Netscape Explorer, Internet Explorer wars? Yeah, beautiful relationship. So it was like kind of a dark era of the web development. I wouldn't explain, I wouldn't just, I wouldn't talk about JavaScript because we all know all this, you know, information, memes, and all this stuff. Just 100 picture meme would explain everything, I guess. Yeah. What were the problems? The problems were slow internet connections, because internet was used like more through the dial-up connections. So we didn't have the chances to render some big pictures or fancy designs, because web pages had to be very fast then. We had security concerns. There were times when we had single-factor authentication, simple password policy, not many established rules and standards, and there were no automatic testing and monitoring, just only manual. So yeah, limited browser compatibility. The problem was that developers had to develop many versions of one website for different browsers. And then let's move in the time, and 2006. The year of jQuery, simpler DOM manipulation, cross-browser compatibilities, even handling AJAX requests, animations, all of these the jQuery had solutions for, but still there were problems. Performance overheat. Very often it was like default way to use simple JavaScript tasks. So pages were slower, and the rendering time was much more longer. And if in context of the developer experience, there was quite hard maintained imperative spaghetti code. Okay. So is for jQuery. I just want to share a story, because several years ago I was a mentor in one bootcamp, and I had to. And when we had this jQuery day, just right after JavaScript, when students learn about jQuery, they were just like, "Why the heck we need JavaScript if we have jQuery?" Like they were so, unsatisfied of the whole jQuery ecosystem. So it was quite important to explain that, guys, it's not working like this. Hate it, love it, but you definitely have to learn JavaScript. Okay, 2010, year of Angular, first 1.0. Angular brought to the table two-way data binding. It enables synchronization between the UI and data model. It brought also modularity and dependency injection and actually reusable components. Sorry. But there were a lot of problems actually. First of all, performance issues. There were large numbers of bindings and watchers, and probably the most important issue and the challenge was there were no migrating paths. So when the Angular 2.0 was released, like it was totally new programming framework, so it was quite frustrating for the developers. Yeah, 2012, TypeScript. TypeScript is kind of solved problems like TypeScript brought to us strong typing and type inference, then helped to improve scalability and maintainability, tooling and integration, IDE, text editor. It was kind of, it is like, it is, because we all use TypeScript, I guess. It is like GPS for our code, and what is very important, TypeScript can be gradually adopted, so we don't need to rewrite the whole code base. Problems, I just mentioned two of them. We still have to remember that TypeScript is not won't save us from JavaScript. There is still JavaScript remains under the hood, well, TypeScript brings additional complexity. We all remember all these tsconfig.json files, and sometimes configuration could be a really pain in our daily work. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. Okay, moving forward. Frameworks. I decided to combine them in one slide because they, I am aware they are like differ in their in nature, but they have a lot of quite a lot of common things, and some of them are the main: state management, component-based architecture, virtual DOM, like re-rendering, like server-side rendering, declarative UI, and ecosystem and community. If we talk about problems, here I would like to start using word maybe not word, more like statement. It depends, because all of these problems, like ecosystem choice, integration with backend, and over flexibility, it depends of our project specifications. If you have a small project, definitely React is not like it will be like overkill. But if you would, architecture a huge web software, this framework and library would be quite okay for using. Okay, Redux. Redux. Three main fundamental principles: one single source of truth, state management, and debugging. Problems? No, but the correct answer is it depends, because Redux is definitely overkill for small apps or even medium-sized apps. But for if you want to write this kind of apps, you have definitely consider alternatives like local state or React context, React query, passing props even. Yeah, but from my experience, when I started to use Redux in my work, it was quite very good optional for state management in the micro front-end world. Okay, Next.js. Next.js. Well, it's who used Next.js? Okay. Okay, so because I've read a lot of discussion that Gatsby is more optimal, but okay. In our company we use also Next.js, but so yeah, let's recall quick. Server-side rendering HTML on server, automatic code splitting, built-in optimizations, simplified routing. Actually, it's very cool and simplifies a lot of developers' routine previous tasks. Problems, yeah, increase in complexity. Sometimes it can be difficult to navigate and debug the some errors in current state. Limited flexibility, because Next.js have a lot of built-in features, and yeah, as I mentioned, difficulty in handling APIs, errors, and slugs. As for Angular, there were the release of Angular 2.0. It was total. I haven't experienced in Angular, but as I remember from that times, it was quite a revolutionary release. And still now, from the developer surveys, there are a lot of applications that are still standing on this technology. So let's just don't underestimate this framework. Okay. What are we? It was pretty fast, I guess. Okay, these are main points I selected to summarize where we are right now. We have faster development, enhanced security, real-time programming, no page reloads finally, easy to learn, easy to scale, easy to use, and we have more responsive features. I know that every of these points could be opinionated and questionable by a lot of developers, but guys, we all have to admit that in comparison from this 1993, it's a huge revolution. It's quite really remarkable progress, so yeah. But if we will talk about the trends, I selected these ones. I wouldn't talk about all of these, but would you mention maybe some? Did I miss something? Would you add something? Edge. Edge. Okay. Anything else? Remix. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's a good yeah, remix. More? Okay. Okay. I won't focus on every technology, but from my point of view, I just selected one of the, let's say, more trendy, more significant in the current maybe year or past years. Server-side rendering. Are we back to the roots? To understand better where we are right now with server-side rendering, let's just quick recall what we had previously when we had server-side rendering in early era of frontend. We had static HTML rendered by backend server, what was quite expensive option. Technology was PHP, Ruby, ASP.NET, and Spring. Then browser becomes powerful. JavaScript became like Superman, and we just thought, why don't we put the logic to the client, to the client browser? So now we are right now services as software as a service. I mean web applications like services as services. Okay. SaaS, yeah, it's more, thanks. I just wanted to be very, explanatory. We have dynamic HTML rendering in user's browser through single-page applications. React, Vue.js, Angular 2.0. But the very the main challenge in this solution is poor SEO. So Freud, okay. Just the server-side generators enter the hall. Server-side generators, it's like the combo of server-side rendering and client-side rendering. It's HTML pre-rendering at build time, which means fast initial page loads, up first renders on the server before being hydrated, technology Next.js, Nuxt, Angular, and a good SEO. Progressive web applications. It's like a mix of web and mobile technology. Okay, so let's just speed up. CI/CD. I suppose that it will be a trend of the future years. 100 deploys a day. That's where we're going. WebAssembly. Here I would like just, Piotr would be definitely more explanatory than me. Another two frameworks I'd like to mention, Astro and SvelteKit, kind of really fast rendering and really efficient for small or medium apps. And where are we going? Predictions can be tricky, but due to my observation, what we see, what we've seen, and all this data available, let's just try to predict some. We are now in a Web 3.0 era, and we are still discovering and exploring it. We will still have a Web 4.0 for Web 4 and Web 5 in the future. What is interesting, Web 4 is like symbiotic technology combining with machines, and Web 5 is kind of emotional web, like super unpredictable stuff. AI plus front-end, the perfect tech romance. It will, to my opinion, it will involves four main categories: automation, personalization and user-centric focus, natural language processing, and generative AI in design. Metaverse is another promising trend in the world of front-end. It wouldn't be, I think it wouldn't be available in the following 5 years, but maybe in 10 years it have a huge potential. Blockchain and decentralized applications also. And summarizing everything we've seen here, I think the most important conclusion is like the future of front-end tech is defined by those who master the art of time saving. It's the statement of ChatGPT. After this kind of text, I inputted him because I had this, mess in my head. So, but I think it was quite correct, valid prediction of the future, where are we going. So yeah, thank you guys. I think I was really fast with the whole with the whole material. Thank you WarsawJS for the invitation, and it was a pleasure. Thank you.
Are we on? Yeah. A pleasure for us too. And I know this is a lot of pressure to condense everything into 22 minutes. However, does anyone have any questions for Ulyana now? And Daniel.
That's not really a question, just...
Yeah, please make sure your questions are actually questions.
Sorry, I have just a quick factual correction to make, because I believe when we are talking about history, especially early history, we need to be correct about our dates. So my correction is that the year that Tim Berners-Lee released first the Word was not 1993, it was 1991. 93 was...
Thank you so much, Daniel. See, this is why, when we try to express concepts during the question and answer session, this is what can happen. Did everyone understand that? No, you didn't. Okay, so the idea here, folks, is that we have limited time for Ulyana to answer questions. So please make sure you ask actually a question and try not to ask a follow-up question if you can help it. Anyone else have questions for Ulyana? Okay, where are you?
Ulyana, very interesting talk. And I'm wondering if you have done this research. I would like to ask you, what do you think about so-called low-code or no-code solutions? And the main question is, like the final question is, do you think all of the frontends will be unified into one way of defining logic for user interface applications, or do you think we will stay forever in this split world of split frameworks?
How many questions is that?
Like
Did you understand?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. As for low-code solutions, it was in the category of the automation powering by AI solutions. So low-code, I think it will be the future for us, and it will be a very good trend. No one will take our, I predict, but of course I don't know for 100%, but they will, there are so a lot of remarkable tools I've already seen. So in the next 5 years, I think we will be like on the top of this possibilities. The local solutions will allow us to deal with front end. So yeah, second question. It was, do we will be divided into frameworks, or do we will have the whole one ecosystem framework? Yeah? Have a user interface. I think AI will help, I think in the future, with the help of AI, we will have very personalized designs and interfaces. If you, for example, if we will go back, enter the page, if you will enter this page and I will enter this page, it will be total different websites for us. So I don't think there will be like one unified. There actually will be a very personalized to the user experience solutions and apps, websites, everything.
Ulyana, thank you for trying to answer the impossible question. I really appreciate it. Let's give Ulyana a hand one more time, please. If you have more questions for Ulyana, please contact her later. I'll say thank you so much.